Welcome to CirclemakersTV. Very sorry about the late start, but we actually had a problem there with the broadband, and I was thinking, oh God, have I paid the bill? What the hell, you know? I normally do pay the bill, but you know, it's one of those things you just wonder, is that what's causing it? So I picked up the phone. We had a dead line. We didn't have any phone line. We were still getting broadband, but we were only getting it at half a megabit. So the upload speed was 90k, which is not enough for the heavy usage of livestream, which is about 400 kilobits. So we needed 4 times the speed. So I wiggled the connector. Hang on, just dropped something on the floor. I wiggled the connector downstairs, and lo and behold, the phone line became active again. And then we suddenly reconnected to the broadband at 8 megabits. So that solved the problem. So Agent S is over there, and yeah.
No, says it's flipping slow.
What's slow?
Oh, I assume he means the connection after what we've just
experienced.
Oh
yeah, the connection's slow. That would have been flipping slow, but hopefully we're not coming through like that, because that wouldn't be anything to do with the broadband connection. That would just be to do with my IQ level. So anyhow, we've got a good show for you tonight. I'm hoping we can speak to our guest, who's joining us from a long way away. You know, sort of devises Conservative Club. No, this guest is in Italy, and I think if we go full screen, we can join him and say hello. So, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear us? Excellent. So now we can show that you've actually got a webcam as well. So. Welcome to the show. This is Mr. Francesco Grassi. I hope I'm pronouncing.
Hello,
I hope I'm pronouncing
Francesco Grassi. Yeah.
Francesco Grassi. Francesco. Yeah. You've got to say it with a much more sort of rounded Francesco.
yeah. Italian R. Yeah.
Yes. So, would you like to tell us roughly where you are in Italy, so that people can get an idea?
Yeah, I actually live in the north of Italy. It's it's very famous town is Milan, so it's quite in the north. I was born in the south, but then I went to study in the north of the Italy, and then I went to the university, and I work here in Milan.
Right. Okay. So Milan is quite a nice place. I saw a little bit of that when you invited me over to make a crop circle. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And so some people probably aren't aware that took place, so we'll have to give them all the details. But right, whilst we've got Francesco on the line, we shall say hang on fire on the line, and we'll let people know a little bit about the channel, because we like to tell people how they can actually interact. So we'll switch back to my camera, but you can still hear us. So we got fingers crossed Skype's going to work really well tonight. We're hoping on this. And you can't hear?
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear him, right? Okay, now you can. Sorry about that. Agent S couldn't hear. Might be a slight echo, but only in the room, won't go through on the stream. That's fine. So, right, we've got some information for you. We normally tell you how to get in touch with us. The website for the channel is CirclemakersTV. And you've got to go to CirclemakersTV.org, which is www.circlemakerstv.org, and you'll find information about the show, including some links which are on there for tonight's show, which we'll be talking about in a bit. If you want to Skype into the show because you'd like to speak to our guest or ourselves, you can do that by adding the following username, CirclemakersTV, which we will then accept you, and you can either send us text messages anonymously, which is one way to do it, or if you want to send text messages to us in the chat window, we've got a little chat window which, if you look in live stream and you scroll down a little bit, on the right hand side there's a white box and there's lots of people chatting away. Now that's a live chat window, so if you click into the little typing area and press enter, type some text, you can actually get through to us. And what we normally ask is if you want us to read out your question, if it's for the guest or if it's for us. If you put it for the guest, it'll be Francesco in capital letters. If you want it for me, it'll be Matthew. If you want it for Agent S, it'll be for Agent S. Otherwise, we will skim across reading the mail that's in there. But if you definitely want that question asked, make sure you put it in capitals so we can work it out.
Don't be afraid to post it twice if we miss it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to post it twice, we're being told.
If we miss it.
Okay, great. So now then, we're going to go back to Francesco and we'll find out a little bit more about... so if you want to go full screen, that would be brilliant. Thank you. So there's Mr. Francesco in somewhere near Milan in Italy, which is somewhere near Australia, isn't it?
No.
Okay. I mean, we're probably on the level of like people sort of when they say they don't know the UK and they say like Wales, is that part of England? You know, it's like, so yeah.
You know, it's you know, the Mediterranean Sea, so it's there. In Italy, it's quite famous all over the world. So.
Okie doke. Now you're clicking your pen under the table, aren't you?
Okay, I don't do it.
we can hear everything, mate. And
Okay.
we can tell you've got two people sitting in the room. Let me just work. I can psychically tell that one of them is 31 and was born in July. Am I correct?
Me in July?
No, the two other people in your room. One is female, born in July, likes dolphins. Am I correct?
No.
I'm not correct. Oh damn!
No.
You're too skeptical.
people with me.
You're too skeptical, sir. I've been told. You're bringing me back down to earth now. You're supposed to say yes. You're absolutely right.
Okay, excuse me. But,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm glad to be brought back down to earth anyway. So, right. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your interest in the paranormal and specifically then crop circles? How did you become involved in all of this stuff? Does it go back into your youth? Can you start us off?
Yeah, because my interest and in this subject, I mean, the paranormal started when I was very young. So I was very curious to understand if some paranormal activities or paranormal powers could be real, can be really human things that could be done by human beings. And so I was interested when I was very young. Then I tried some experiment, I can say, psychokinesis. I don't know if it's the right term.
Psychokinesis, yes, or telekinesis, is it?
Yeah. Trying to move little objects with the mind, and so on. I tried that kind of things, but I was not so successful. And anyway, I was always interested in UFOs and that kind of things. Later, when I got my skill and my knowledge, the scientific study I had during the university, let's say, I was interested, and I discovered that in 1989, in Italy was founded the CICAP. The CICAP was. I can hear an echo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am listening. Yep.
Okay. I discovered that this kind of committee was founded in Italy in 1989. It
Right.
was created by a very famous journalist. It's called Piero Angela, and the approach to this kind of phenomenon was rational and scientific. So I was interested in this kind of approach, and I was interested in CICAP. CICAP, it's like checkup, so it means Italian Committee for the Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal.
Right.
And then I got interested in these things, and I went into the crop circle subject around 1999, 2000. I was very curious about these kind of things, and I started my researches about this subject.
Right. Okay. Well, 1989. So we're just sorting out your Skype window. If you want to, yeah, that's brilliant. So 1989, you started research. How far did your research go? Were you simply a member, or were you actually a researcher as well?
So I started, I founded a local organization in Lombardy, where is Milan based, the town of Milan. And later on, let's say, I went, I moved to in the committee. So I am one of the people part of the committee. We are around the actual members. We are around 14, 15. There are a lot of people enthusiasts of the CICAP, so there are a lot of followers, but the committee is a close number committee. I am one of the guys. But just to clarify this aspect, CICAP it's always mentioned as the bad guys, the skeptics, the people with a closed mind, and so on. But I can tell you that this is not the truth, because being skeptic or skepticism, according to me, is having the capability to dig deeper into the mystery and try to use the scientific methods to go into these kind of things and be able to spread your researches so that everyone in the world can criticize or approve your researches. So there is no preconcept, there is no let's say close approach to the matter.
Right. Okay. So, being in a skeptic organization, is it okay to call it like a skeptical organization, or is it more of a research organization?
No, usually we are referred to as a skeptic organization, but as you know, and as I told before, skeptic is, I don't like this term. Yeah, I would like it. I prefer a scientific committee with scientific researches. Yeah, anyway.
Right, okay. I'm just thinking now it's very much similar to, there's an American organization, isn't there? CICOP, I think it's called.
Yeah, CICOP is the American one, yes. There is also the JRE, James Randi Foundation, JRF, James Randi Foundation, yeah. And the CICAP, let's say, it's kind of an Italian spin-off of this kind of organization. But it has its own way. So we are not paid by anyone. There are a lot of urban legends about CICAP, because they say we are paid by pharmaceutical industries, we are paid by government, we are paid by the Vatican, we are paid by anyone, because when you publish your researches and you are, let's say, critic about a subject, and then you should know, because you are saying that you make circle, and you discover that a lot of people hate you just without knowing about you, without knowing nothing, and without reading what you write and what you say. But
yes, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? With a lot of these things, people don't actually bother to look really too much at what you're saying. They either believe or they don't believe. And, you know, sometimes that's more important than actually looking at what you're talking about for some of these people. I mean, do you find you get many attacks then? Is that something, being in that camp especially, I would have thought you get?
Yeah. Since the beginning, when I started to publish my researches over the internet, I started to receive email, threatening mail, attacks, and even if when I do some lectures, there are a lot of people attacking without knowing, without going into details on reading what I write. So my experience is that a lot of people, it's kind of like a faith more than studying and being really interested in the subject. So they attack you just because the name of the umbrella you are talking under, and not reading and understanding what are you saying. It's very difficult, but it's a good challenge, because I experienced a lot of events. I knew a lot of people, and since when I started my researches about the crop circle, anyway, at the end I am very happy, because my experience grew me in every sense. So now I can understand much more of the other people. So when I talk to other people, the so-called believers, believers in crop circle, believers in whatever you want, I have a different approach. I try to use the right terms in order to avoid misunderstanding and so on. So it was a good experience, and it is a good experience if you want to share your researches. It's a challenge.
Right, okay. We've got somebody in channel that you may know. He's called Luigi. He's a friend of yours?
Name is very common, but I can't remember.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try something here. We'll see if Agent S can actually read this, because it's in Italian. So this is going to be a fun experiment.
See, I was going to go for Spanish then, so...
Okay.
TPS il nuovo circola raccolto in Galles.
Yeah. But this is okay. I can read it. Ti piace il nuovo circolo raccolto in Galles? But this seems to be like Italian, an English word, English sentence translated by the computer, it seems.
So somebody's being Google clever, right? Okay.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Excellent. Okay. Well, what does it say? Is it welcoming? Do you
like the new circle made in Galles, in Wales?
Oh, do I? Well, it's asking you. Do you know of any Welsh circles? I know very few, actually. There is one.
There is one?
There is one this year. I believe it's in Chepstow, isn't it? It's the first one of the season, first one of the crop circle season. It's in Chepstow on the River Severn.
Rapeseed, isn't it?
It is. I believe it's rapeseed. Yes, indeed.
No, I didn't see at the moment.
Yeah, I think the Crop Circle Connector featured it in the last couple of days, but I don't normally go as far as to look in Wales. So no, even though it's my original place of home, I don't take an awful lot of notice of if there's ever been anything in Wales. I'm mostly interested in Wiltshire. But how's the crop circle season in your country? Have you had a start to crop circles this year?
This year, not yet. As far as I'm aware, not yet circles. But I presume in the next months, Italy will start again. And I don't know if you are aware of this. Italy is quite prolific about circles, and maybe it's the second region in the world after UK. It seems that there are a lot of circles now in Italy. I think that next month will be okay.
Right. Okay. Now, so we've talked a little bit about your background, being involved with. I keep on thinking I should call it CICOP now, but it's not. It's remind me, CS.
CICAP.
Sorry, CICAP.
It sounds like checkup. You know, it's a checkup.
A checkup.
Yeah, it's kind of but it's not A but EC. CICAP. Okay.
Well,
anyway,
there's certainly some researchers out there who need a checkup from the neck up, but yeah. So. Yeah. Okay, so you've been involved for a number of years with them. How has your research come on then? You sort of got into crop circles specifically. What was the reason why you sort of steered into that that sort of branch rather than other things?
Yeah, let's say that I have a common ground on the paranormal experiments, so I'm able to perform experiments in all, let's say, the kind of the basic level of classic paranormal. And then the question I was interested in was how is it possible that humans can do these kind of things in the weeds, in the crops, and how is it possible that a lot of people are claiming that this cannot be made by human beings, and okay, and so okay.
It's all right. I just said stop clicking your pen. He's thrown him now.
You're
Look.
right.
He's thrown him.
Yeah, you're right.
This is how you get. This is how you get the cheek out people. You know, you just say stop clicking your pen. That's it. That throws them off.
Yeah, of course.
To try that with James Randi sometime.
Yeah, I can ban the pen. Yeah.
Snap it and put it in the drawer. That's probably your best bet.
Okay. And the basic reason was trying to understand how is it possible to make these things, and why people can say that it's not possible this kind to be made by humans. So it's a control. I started with this reasoning on this, and I can remember a very famous in Italy story. It was a circle made by one of our committee. It was in 1999. It was created a local circle, Italian circle, and because it was not so good in shape, so it was not it's not so perfect as they say. The CICAP received a lot of attacks and swearing and blah 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 on the circle, and this made me think about the subject, and it was a challenge to me to understand, to go in detail, to go deep in detail in the subject. And I started my researches, and I can remember that around 2000, 2001, it became very famous in Italy, a book written by Enzo Haseloff, and the crop circle subject became very famous in Italy, the deepening complexity of crop circle. And in 2001, it was published by Physiologia Plantarum Journal, a scientific, let's say, so-called scientific article, proving that scientifically it was demonstrated that crop circle are not made by humans, and there are unknown entities or balls of light under the phenomenon. So I was interested because that was a subject to be investigated. So I started with that. And one of my first researches was about the dead flies. I was very interested in this funny story of the dead flies, and this was one of my first researches that I then published over the internet.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that. We've even got some photos we'll bring up in a bit, so when we start going into that in detail. We've got somebody has mentioned something. I'll let Agent S.
Yes, hi. We've got a chap called Tristan in channel. He's asking, or whether he's making a statement actually.
Statement, yeah.
Yeah, CSI COP or
CICOP.
CICOP in USA is now the Center for Skeptical Inquiry. CSI.
Yeah. I presume last year they changed the name, but yeah, this should be true. Yes.
Okay. There is another question underneath then from somebody called Jargenial or Jargenial.
Jargenial.
Yes.
Yeah. Has the Vatican some interest in crop circles?
As far as I'm aware, I don't think so. They are not interested in crop circle. No, it's not. It's not of interest. No.
Is that because they've actually studied it themselves and deemed it to be not worthy of interest? Because I would have thought at one point they probably were, like many people, wondering where all this was coming from. So is there any evidence that they've kind of looked into it but dismissed it, or?
No way. I think it's not important for the Vatican, this subject. Completely not.
So they didn't think that they were going to, it wasn't a sign from beyond then that, or an apocalypse sign?
To be honest, I think that there are two kind of approach to the crop circle subject. the let's say the first one, the main famous is the believers in the crop circle. So there are a lot of followers of the phenomenon and so on. In the other case is the other part is, let's say, something to be read over the newspaper, but not so much interest in digging this. And especially if you imagine that Italy is, let's say, 4 or 5 years that in Italy they started to create circles, but before 2003 in Italy there was no circle at all.
Really?
So it was,
it's quite a recent thing then, yeah.
Yeah. So in Italy they started around 2003, something like that. And I think that it's not a subject important for the Vatican at all.
Right, okay. So yes, I think probably by that point they would have read about Britain and Doug and Dave and all the rest of it. So when it started appearing in Italy, they probably had a good head start on all of this. I remember seeing some. Was it on a Voyager TV program? I think it was some Italian nuns were saying, "Yes, we don't know what could make this." Was it on that Voyager program? Or
Voyager is a very famous program, TV program talking about mysteries and also crop circle. Crop circle is a very common subject presented in Voyager. It's very famous. I can't remember what are you saying. So you are saying that
well, there were a couple of nuns, and the nuns were sort of being interviewed as to what do they think of the crop circle that appeared near where they live, or where they don't exactly work, I suppose. Well, nuns work, don't they? But you don't say that they work. They kind of, you're 9 to 5. I'm a nun. It's more sort of a lifetime kind of calling, isn't it? Rather than a job. But anyway, they were saying, "Oh yes, it's very strange, isn't it? We don't know where it comes from." I'm putting Welsh accents on Italian nuns, by the way. "Oh yes, it's very strange. We don't know where it comes from," and
because it's the normal approach as all the people. Because as a matter of fact, if you don't dig, if you don't research, you cannot understand how it's feasible, how it could be done. This geometric shape, very huge into the fields. So it's known or normal people. It's the same thing, I presume.
Right. Is it fair to say that when the crop circles started appearing in Italy, interest in them became much more? People were getting into them and starting to sort of ask more questions. How did you see the development of interest in crop circles in Italy then?
I can say that the interest in Italy was very, very big, even if before the 2003. But before 2003, since the beginning, around 1989, when 1990, because it was the first publish of the circular evidence of Pat Delgado and Colin Andrews. It was the Italian version. It was in 1990-91, and so the subject was very famous from the believer's point of view, but no circle makers around on the ground in Italian fields. So there were a lot of people following the subject from that position, but it's a strange correlation, because in 2003 it was aired on TV, The Sign, Mr. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it was aired in 2003, and after this movie in the TV, let's say they started making circle in Italy. It's a kind of strange coincidence, but it's like this. According to me, during the first year of the 2001, there was a very big interest in the subject, because I can remember during that first years I started to write in the news group Mystery, talking about mysteries, talking about Crop Circle, because I was interested in chatting with people, sharing experience and thoughts about this subject. And there was a lot of interest in it via the internet, news groups and websites. So I think that Circle makes, and we started, I can remember, I can cite, let's say, another another person she's a lady, is Margherita Campagnolo, is one of the people I knew through via the internet. She started to talk to me, all the other people in doing these researches. So we started talking about circle makers. It was not so easy to read over the internet about circle making, human circle making. And we started, but why we started during that years, and I presume that this created much more interest in human circle making, and then in 2003 the activities really started on the ground.
Right. I mean, I'm just wondering for my own benefit, do Italian people, most of them, speak English? Are they aware of the American and British media talking about crop circles, or do they have to, do they have to wait till? I mean, what's the sort of number, would you say? Is it highly spoken in Italy, English language?
No. English is not so spoken because much more, let's say, French, but we are not so like the northern region, European and northern region. They used to learn English when they are kids. In Italy, it's not so easy. Now it's much more better because the internet, because a lot of factor. Now it's better, but 20 years ago it was impossible. It's a barrier anyway. The language is a barrier for Italian people. Anyway, the main books about the subject were translated.
Right.
And they were very famous in Italy, like the one I told before.
Elcho's.
Circular Evidence.
Oh, sorry, not Circular Evidence by Colin Andrews, yes?
Yeah, that was very famous. Yeah.
Right, okay. And that was released when it first came out, was it in Italian?
A couple of years later, because I can remember that the Italian version incorporated the first volume and the second volume written by Delgado and Colin Andrews. In Italy,
right.
was one book incorporating the two versions with black and white images instead of the colored one. Anyway, I have both the version, the Italian one and the English one. I have a lot of books on the subject, so I have a collection.
Right. So you were quite ahead of many people then with your research, because you obviously spoke English. You were getting all the latest sort of hot information. So it took a little bit longer for it to sort of trickle down all this stuff that you were doing, and to get through to people. But as you say, Voyager, which I had an involvement with when you invited me over.
Yeah.
They're kind of like your premier source for most people then. Are there radio shows or magazines on the paranormal? I would imagine they must be. So.
There are a lot of newspapers. Paranormal newspaper are very famous. That's one of the main reason because the CICAP was created, because our feeling is that that is not the correct way to spread the research, because it's very biased. That kind of publishing, they are very biased, so they don't check, they don't control, they propagate urban legend without checking, without going into the details. And so this is one of the main reason why CICAP was created, to have let's say a defensive point, able to be contacted by the newspaper and able to discuss on any paranormal subject or these kind of things with a logical and rational approach. There are a lot of things. There are not like so-called skeptics, air transmission, TV transmission. So.
Right, yeah, it's a similar sort of situation to what we've got in this country then, whereby, you know, there's a lot of, you know, wild information out there, and it certainly sounds very interesting, but not a lot of looking behind the surface to see whether or not this is in fact truthful. Do you find it's quite hard to deal with the media in Italy to get the point across that there are sometimes rational explanations for what are considered at first to be paranormal or...
my experience is...
How do you find it? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, my experience is that it's very hard because it's very simple, it's very easy for the media to spread any kind of information without control. The point for the media is not the quality of the information. The point for the media is to being, let's say, for a newspaper acquired by a lot of people. For the media, the TV media is to be seen by a lot of people. So the quality of the information it's not so important. And when you are in that kind of program, it's very difficult because you have to say the right things in the right way to avoid being misunderstood by the others. It's very difficult. And anyway, this is my experience. And as I said, it's a kind of challenge that any people working with this subject, trying to spread their own researches, the critic researches on paranormal subject, they have to deal with.
Yes, indeed. We've got somebody, well, it's Luigi again, and he's speaking Google Italian, probably. Now, I'm hoping at some point we don't get anyone sort of swearing at you, but I'll give it a go this time. It says, Francesco, tu sei l'uomo.
Yeah, that means you're the man.
You're the man. Oh, that's okay then.
It's lucky because you can actually see the text on screen.
Oh, you could see it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
It's not like you're speaking really brilliant.
Was my? It wasn't because my Italian was just 100% brilliant.
Yeah, you are very good, Matthew. So go on.
He's so nice to me. He's so nice to me. Yes. Can you actually see us as well? Are you watching the live stream in a window with it muted? Hopefully, I'm sure you are. Are you? You're able to see the program so far? Yeah.
Yeah, there is a little bit delay, but I can see with the audio muted. Yeah, the muted audio.
Excellent. Okay. Now, somebody else is asking a question. You can probably see these in capitals. Genial or whatever. Genial.
Yes, genius. It means.
What does it mean?
Yes, genius.
Yes, genius. Oh, okay. I thought it was like a brother or sister to Jake Gyllenhaal or whatever, Gyllenhaal or whatever his name is, but. Anyway, it says, does Francesco know anything about the UFO sighting? It was...
Perceived.
Oh, yes, perceived by the military that flew over the Vatican. Do you know anything about this?
No, I don't know the case these people is referring to. There are a lot of cases. I can remember. There are a lot of things related to one specific over the Vatican.
In 2010. In 2010, apparently. Maybe you need to give us a link to some information on it, Genial. How would you say it again, sorry?
Genial, yeah.
Genial.
Well, that's my interpretation.
Cha-ching. So we've got, Okay, there we are. Open Minds TV Vatican UFO film. Okay, right. Yeah, but you can't believe everything you see on the internet. There's been a lot of hoaxes recently. Have you seen some of these... over the Temple Mount stuff? I've seen some of these bits of video footage where a little ball of light is seen above Temple Mount, which is in the holy district of Jerusalem, and then you've got it shoots off at high speed, and it just looks too good to be true, and of course it kind of ended up it was too good to be true. I think it was found out to be a hoax. Did you see any of that, Francesco?
You see what you mean? The link?
Did you? The video footage of the UFOs above Temple Mount in Jerusalem recently. There's been a couple of them, and all of them looked a little bit too good to be true. And have you seen any of those?
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I've seen. But to be honest, there are so many footage that it's quite impossible to follow all the footage and.
Yeah.
And you know, when you cannot say the last word on this kind of footage because you can say whatever you want, but the UFO it's a kind of different. That's why I was interested in crop circle. Crop circle was a physical object being there. You can go into the field, investigate, and so on. UFO it's a kind of interesting because of a lot of aspects. A lot of aspects, but the real problem of the UFO is that you cannot, you have not the physical object. You can say what you want. You can say that the testimony was looking at something else, a planet or whatever you want, but you cannot say the last word. That's why I moved from UFOs to crop circle, and that was quite interesting.
Yes, I mean, I think I've said in the past, I mean, one of the reasons I got into crop circles was for exactly what you say there, is that crop circles appeared to be something that you could, you know, get in and touch, whereas a UFO is, you know, never going to sit around in a field waiting for people to do proper research on it. It's there in the sky and gone, or it's landed and gone, but, you know, there's always stories, but never proof. Crop circles seem to sort of be more beneficial in the fact that they were hanging around a lot longer. That's in the early days. In the early days when I didn't know what was making them.
Yeah, it's investigating UFO. It's much more difficult than investigating crop circle, and I can say that anyway. It's very difficult to publish your researches onto the crop circle subject. I think that this was a very important point that made me move to crop circle, because there were a lot of a statement that could be investigated. There was scientific papers, so-called scientific papers. There is the object, the physical object. You can go into, you can check, you can control the statement, the claims about flattened wheat and so on. So according to me, this made me touch with my hand the real approach from it's a faith, and this is what I experienced, because if a lot of people believes in false claims about crop circle, so how the people can understand the truth behind fake footage, or let's say you know, there are a lot of mental mechanism where the testimony is seeing something that is not true. So it's very difficult.
But much easier in crop circles than in many research fields, yeah, because you can.
And it's very difficult, yeah.
Yeah. So what we should do then is we should get our teeth into some of your actual cases, because we've talked around the generalistics of it now. So would you like to give us a little insight? I mean, I've got some of your information which you sent across. And by the way, what we should perhaps do is tell people that if they want to have a look at some of the information that's being mentioned here, there is a link on the CirclemakersTV website, which is, I'll put up the link for you now. This is CirclemakersTV.org. If you go onto that website, there's a specific link on the front page, and it's it says Francesco Grassi. If you click on that, it's got a whole page of links which go to Francesco's website and other websites that Francesco has helped give information to. So you can pull up all this stuff there. So it's not just that we're going to be saying things on the show and you have to take our word for it. You can go and look at the background information to this too. So would you like to lead us in with something that you've dealt with? And I'll be happy to question you and try and get some more out of you if you want to.
Yeah, of course. I'm very anyway. I didn't say it. I'm very happy about this experiment, web experiment with you, Matthew, because it's very interesting.
Good, good.
One of the main important concept that I want to. Could you avoid this echo?
Could I avoid what? Sorry.
It's an echo to me.
Oh, is there an echo? Oh,
yeah, echo.
Hang on.
It was an echo. Maybe when you don't talk, there is an echo to me.
Right. Say something. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Okay. I'm here.
Are you getting the echo now?
Okay. No. Now it's okay.
Okay. What it is, it's we've got the speakers on in the room so that Agent S can actually hear what's going on. Could you manage if I put it down a little bit lower, or do you want some headphones? You speak to us. I'll sort out some headphones whilst you're talking to Agent S, and then we shouldn't have any echo at all. So I can hear you, so carry on. Okay.
I was saying that one important concept that I am interested in spread during these couple of hours with you and with all the people looking at this program is because I have seen a lot of comments about how these people made these studies, so he's not titled to talk about the subject or whatever it is. The concept is that this is the beauty of the science. The beauty of the science is that anyone, now I have the echo, anyone can formulate, can publish their own his own researches, and anyone can comment and criticize. So there is not the final word from one specific person just because he is an authority. There is not authority in science. Anyone can say. The main important thing is that what you say, what you spread, what you talk about must be criticized, must be read, must be criticized by all the people, and only if it survives after this kind of logical battle, so it's good. This is science. This is the scientific method that I appreciate. So just to clarify the subject, I had a degree, a university degree in electronic engineering, but this does not mean that I cannot study, I cannot talk about, let's say, what I'm going to introduce, for instance, dead flies and insects and so on, because I was able to study, I was able to dig into this subject, and I was able to publish an article, and anyone is able, if they have the methods, they have the capability to criticize my article. So this is science.
Yes.
Anyway, I think this is important because I think it's a barrier for a lot of people, and they go to the authority principle. So because Levengood said that, oh, he's a doctor, or he's not a doctor, or he's a physician, or he's whatever you want. So this is the final word on the subject. This is not true. Anyone can criticize, read, study, and this is science. Okay, going into one of the first research is I was very interested in. It was about the dead flies. Dead flies was interesting because, anyway, we received an email from some people criticizing us, saying that how do you want to, how are you able to talk about this subject? You are not able to create perfect formations, and you are not able to replicate the anomalies. So we are talking about anomalies in crop circle subject. What's anomaly? Okay, the anomaly, I don't know if all the people listening are quite expert on this, but the real problem is how we can say that a formation has been man-made or not. This is the main topic, the main question. And there are a lot so-called experts saying that there are what they called anomalies, proving that specific formation could not be made by human beings because the anomaly. In this case, the dead flies. In 1998, there was a formation in Cherhill discovered by Janet Osebald that is quite famous in the UK because she wrote a lot of things about circles. And she found a lot of flies stuck on the wheat and dead in a strange way with spread wings and so on. So you can see, you have seen the pictures on the internet. So that was the link used by Elcho Haseloff in his book to write an article saying that maybe a ball of light, let's say, kind of UFO, because a ball of light is a kind of UFO. It's a specific kind of UFO. So maybe it was irradiating some energy, and while creating the crop circle, and this could be the cause for the death of the flies. In this case, so it's very interesting because we have photographs, we have a lot of things, and I started my researches. Matthew, if you want to interrupt, it's okay. Anyway, I can talk about this if you want.
No, that's fine. Yes, the flies are very interesting. So I mean, it'd be good to go into more detail with that. Because I mean, I remember hearing about these with Bert Jansen and Janet Osebard. I remember it being their sort of bag, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. One of the first things I discovered, this is interesting. When you dig into a mystery, you discover a lot of things that are not so well known. Because the first thing I did was to find over the internet what was the formation where Janet Osebald found the dead flies. And I was very surprised to find that formation. It was really a mess. It was not perfect, absolutely not perfect. And even if at that moment I had no, let's say, clue about the solution of the mystery, that was another important point I reached, because it's a dissonance. There is a myth of the perfection. The real circle are perfect, while the human made circle are not perfect. In this case, we have an anomaly in a very bad circle.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and this is quite strange because I found that in a book saying the element that the real expert, according to the real expert, can understand if a circle is real or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was interesting. Anyway, another aspect, and I started the research, was to discover that there was the intervention of an expert, an entomologist, saying that the cause could be a fungus. It was called Entomophthora muscae, and I can explain the name. But this cause was ruled out, and there was no a thing like this was not seen before, and so the mystery is that.
So you're giving us. I'm just going to stop you there and just go a brief overview. Are you saying that you brought in an entomologist and sort of were able to kind of close the mystery? Yeah.
This is part of the research. The first thing I did, the first thing I did was to understand what is Entomophthora muscae fungus,
right?
Because it was not written in the book. it was not so digged, this subject. The statement was very easy and simple. It could be this fungus, but it was ruled out.
So
that's all.
Could you say it slowly, because even I can't remember it. The name of the fungus that you're talking about there.
The name is Entomophthora muscae.
Musca.
Entomophthora, it's a conjunction of two Greek words. It means entomon, means insect.
Right.
Phthora means destruction.
So
so Entomophthora means destruction of insects, and musca is a Latin word for fly. So Entomophthora muscae means fungus destructor of insects, specifically talking about flies.
I would have thought the musca was kind of like the fungus bit, but no, the musca is the fly bit. Okay, that's good to know.
Literally means of flies. Musca.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for that. Sorry to stop you there, but I thought we just, pin that down so people understood what we were talking about here.
No, okay, it's okay.
Go ahead, carry on. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So the first thing I did was, what is this fungus? What is a fungus? What is the life cycle of the fungus? So I went, and now it's kind of easy, let's say, if you know how to do. It's quite easy to go over the internet, use the search engine, and find a lot of literature and books, online books, to study a subject. And that was what I did. So I downloaded a lot of books, scientific books talking about this fungus, and I studied it.
Okay.
And the real surprise was that anything that this fungus was doing to the flies was exactly what has been seen by Janet Oswald.
Right. So this was put forward by Janet as being a strange effect in the crops. Flies found stuck to the sort of crop and unable to move, looking dead. I believe the first claim was they were dead, wasn't it? Was that correct?
Yes. They were dead. Yeah.
Yes. So, would you like to tell us, a little bit more then? So, obviously, what was happening to these flies then?
Okay. The life cycle of the fungus is I have to make the thing simple. Anyway, a small particle of the fungus, when touches the abdomen of the fly, it starts to penetrate the abdomen, goes into the flies. Yeah.
Yes.
You are showing some that.
I've actually got something up on the screen now. So yes, if you wanted to describe what we're seeing. Yeah.
This is a dead fly in the last phase of the fungus attack. This is called sporulation.
Sporulation.
You can see coming out from the abdomen. Sporulation.
Yeah.
Because the fungus is coming out through. I can spell it. Is sporulation.
Okay, right.
So it's the last phase of the fungus. The fungus is coming out from the segment of the abdomen. You see the thing, the white thing of between the abdomen. The segment of the abdomen. That the fungus.
That's the fungus.
Coming, growing, coming out, and spreading all over the dead fly. This is the last phase because the fungus reach the objective to be to get in touch with other flies, because the spread wings, if a live fly can see a fly stuck with the spread wings and the abdomen tilted up, the approach is, this fly is eating something, so that's an interesting scenario,
right?
Or this fly want to copulate, and this is a very interesting scenario, even for the flies. So the other flies goes to this dead fly, and they infect themselves with the particle, the fungus, and the life cycle start again.
Ah, right, I see. And is the fungus's main objective to spread like pollen would spread? You know, like a bee would capture this stuff on its
No,
and spread it around from plant to plant, or is it its main objective to spread it from insect to insect?
no, yes, because the fungus is very sticky. That's why the fly remains stuck to the wheat, because it's the fungus. The fungus comes outside the proboscis and forces the fly to extend the proboscis and to be stuck onto the substrate.
Right.
So it's a sticky thing. It's a sticky thing, and the only way to go from one fly to another is the contact between animals, between insects.
Right. Okay. That's interesting stuff. So the basic cycle you were saying then is that it will start off with the fly able to move around, and it will have some of this stuff on it, but then it gets worse, and progressively the fly will probably find it harder to move, and eventually then it will overtake the fly will die, but other flies will have contact with it and spread it on.
Yeah, exactly. There are 6 phases of the fungus attack. After that, the fungus penetrate the fly, it starts to grow. It's a kind of, it's funny to say, but it's like the Alien movie. It's
the Alien, yes.
Absolutely. Because the link again, the link with the UFO, aliens, and the crop circle, and that flies.
Yes. Does it actually grow out from the inside, or is it growing across the surface of the insect?
No, from the inside, it's going outside. So the fungus take possess of the entire body of the flies, and the fly before dying. Tends to go up somewhere, extend the proboscis, remains stuck to the wood or the wheat or whatever the fly is, and then spread wings, and then at this point the fly is dead, and after the fly is dead, the fungus grows till fills up the entire abdomen and spreads between the segments of the abdomen, forming around the fly a white, let's say, a lot of white particles around the fly.
Yes. I mean, I've just got to say, isn't nature wonderful sometimes? Goodness
Absolutely.
gracious. I mean, it's hard to believe that something could develop like this, but you do see symbiotic relationships where something has kind of hijacked something else and needs, one or two species need each other to live. I mean, it looks a bit gross, though. It's a nasty way to die, I would imagine. Well, if the fly kind of realizes what's happening to it, but I don't think they do, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so the point being behind all of this, if we go back to the story of what's going on, is you've managed to find this out, and why do you think people like Janet Ossebard and Bert Jansen, who are calling themselves sort of premier researchers, do you think they looked at this or found this information somewhere, or maybe overlooked it, or how do you feel they came across this information? Did you tell them? Were you the first person to tell them?
Yeah, I contacted both Janet and Bert because I was interested in actual pictures got by Janet on the first formation in 1998, and she was very kind because she sent her photos, the pictures, and one of the pictures Janet sent to me was very clear because this is a picture of mine. You are showing a picture of mine.
Yep.
This is in 2004. I was around Silbury Hill, in UK, and I was looking at all the weeds around. Nobody was seeing these little flies stuck to the weed, while I was, because I was interested in seeing. And this is another thing I discovered. Not all the people is able to see the same thing.
Right.
But in my article that it's published over the internet, even in English, there is the picture got from Janet, got in the 1998 formation. It's a condition similar like the one you are showing. So it's very clear that the fungus was creating this infection. The fungus was very clear. So it was another proof that the flies photographed by Janet were attacked by the fungus. I had a chat, email exchange with Janet and Bert, trying to investigate and to share this knowledge.
Yes.
But yeah.
And what was the reaction? Were they happy to know this from you, or?
Yeah, they said, yeah, okay, you're saying this, but the expert of the very famous museum is saying something other else. So I don't think really if they read exactly what I was saying, or they were interested. I don't know if they were really interested in. Anyway, I think that they still believe in this strange phenomenon, like an anomaly. So
they still believe that the flies hold significance, even though you've managed to kind of show them. Yes,
I think so.
I think I read one of your articles where I could be wrong, because I mean I've briefly read these. Was it that they had somebody, like you say, from an organisation that said, you know, yeah, flies can die? Tell me if I'm wrong here, but flies can die like this, but not the ones you've got in your circles, or there was some sort of like inference of that nature. Am I correct?
Yes, but it's more complex, because in the book of Elcho Haseloff, it was mentioned an expert of the Natural Museum of London,
right.
saying that there was an experiment or something that could be read to prove that this kind of thing is not normal. So I was asking to Bert to give me a photocopy or an electronic scan of the document. He said that he was not able to find his document, and he said that. And I asked him, "Can you remember what was the content of this document?" He said that, "Oh yes, it was not pesticide." Because okay, it was ruled out. It was conducted an experiment to understand if it was this kind of fungus, Entomophthora musca, and there was no indicator showing that this was the cause of the death of the flies. And in the same period, this was another element very interesting, because in the same period. I went to home after my Christmas holidays, and I opened my French door, and I discovered a strange white point stuck to the wood of my French door. And because I was studying the subject, I was really interested in seeing it from the very closely this thing, and I discovered it was a fly. It was a fly stuck to my French door, exactly stuck with the proboscis, with the wings spread, exactly like the one photographed by Janet Osserbar in the crop circle. So right. This was very interesting, because I could be conclude my research and say that some strange energies was irradiating my house. Yeah, could be an option.
Right.
Or what I did was, okay, this seems to me Entomoptera musca fungus, so I can take this specimen and take to the university somewhere and going to make some analysis, perform some analysis on this specimen. And I was very lucky because I found a professor conducting this kind of researches. So I was not saying I was interested in crop circle because it's very difficult to be understood when you talk about these kind of things. I said that I was a fan of entomology, and I was interested in understanding if this was the real Entomoptera musca fungus, and he was very happy to take some
of the material. Yeah.
Yes, some of the material to make it grow on the substrate and see if the Entomoptera musca was growing.
Like
and I discovered.
Sorry,
yeah.
Like a Petri dish or something like that, is it?
Exactly, it's the right term. It's that one.
Okay.
Yeah. You take some small particle of the fungus and you put in this Petra dish, you say, and you wait for the growth of the fungus, and you can recognize if it's a kind of fungus or another kind of fungus. And the strange thing is that both me and both the professor was expecting to see Entomoptera musca fungus, but the Entomoptera musca fungus was not growing. And this was very, let's say, from one side it was not what I expected.
Right.
But on the other side, it was very good because it was exactly the same thing that the professor of the Natural History Museum of London was experiencing. And I asked it to the professor of the University of Pavia, where I live. It's a town very close to Milan, where I work. And I asked the professor why the fungus is not growing in the Petri dish. And he said, "Oh, this is quite normal because you have to know that not all the fungi types they are able to grow in vitro. In vitro, I don't know in English what's
in vitro. Yes, I don't know quite what it means, but I suppose it won't grow in the lab. It has to grow on an animal, then, is it?
Yeah, on the glass. In vitro means on the glass.
On the glass, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fungus, they need the live insect in this case to be grown. Okay. And so he said, "Oh, okay, this is normal. The Entomoptera musca is a specific fungus that it's not so easy to have a culture of this fungus in vitro." That's why that's the reason explaining why it was not present the indicator that Bert Janssen was trying to find. And it was
yes. So the experts that they may have had, if they did indeed have, because they weren't able to provide you with the details of who that expert was in the so-called Natural History Museum, he might not have been able to replicate it. You're saying because it was that type that it doesn't like to replicate in that manner. So it helps you to identify that it probably was that type. Then if you know. Yeah. Okay.
But Matthew, just to explain with a better sample, just imagine you found a human body somewhere.
Yes.
The investigation, the police, all the scientific police investigation could be able to understand if the body of the human, the dead human, has been poisoned by something. But if you arrive, let's say, 2 weeks after the death, and you go to find the poison into the body, you don't find nothing. Okay, but you have all the elements in a coherent view to understand that the death was caused absolutely by that kind of cause. And this is kind of an example to show why the indicator was not present on the flies found by Bert and Janet.
Right.
Okay.
Very interesting stuff. I mean, if they're still putting this forward, have they actually talked to their public? You know, Bert and Janet, who sort of like not together as a research group any longer. Back then, I think they were, but I think they deal with things separately now, don't they?
Yeah.
Research-wise. But do you know if they've actually discussed this with the people from their groups? Have they made it public knowledge amongst their group members that you've helped them to understand what this particular type of incident is?
I am not.
Sorry, you've broken up a little bit there. Try again. Have we lost him?
Can you?
Oh, there we are. We've got you back now. Do you want to say again from where I asked you
Okay.
the question? Sorry, we lost your Skype then.
Okay, I was saying that I'm not aware of any, let's say, publishing or position update from Bert. I cannot hear you now.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, now yes. Okay.
Yes, I wasn't speaking, but yeah, okay.
Okay. So I'm not aware of any position change about this subject from Bert and Janet. But in Italy, there were a lot of discussion around this first article because there were a lot of, let's say, believers in the subject. And I was attacked after the publishing of this article.
Really?
And yeah, because I was criticizing
their research. Yeah, you were criticizing. So who attacked you then?
You know, the people, the Italian people supporting Haseloff claims and the Bert these anomalies. So
I see. Right.
Yeah. And but I can tell you that after years, they changed. I know that some of them changed position because once I started to say to publish this information, they tend to go to UK the next years, and they discover the same dead flies, not only inside circle, but also outside and along the path. They are everywhere. You can find dead flies like this all over the wheat. And you can discover that you can find these flies also in your house. And as a matter of fact, I discovered I have in my blog I have written other posts related to flies found in my house or around on other experiences not related to crop circle. So it's not so hard to find flies dead like this. You have to look very carefully, but you will. It could happen. It happened to me making a lecture. I was explaining this research, and one of the people in the audience said to me after the lecture, showed me a picture got with the mobile phone. Saying that the week before she got this strange photo of that fly in the office. So it's very common. It's strange, but it's quite common to find this kind of flies.
Somebody. Oh, sorry.
I don't know if you want to mention, but I think this is important. This last part of the article, I mentioned the experiment with the microwave oven I made with the flies,
right?
Because the original article by Haseloff is not so explicitly saying, but it was kind of persuading the readers that the fact that the flies were dead in such a way, it could depend on some strange irradiation by the balls of light. That is the core of his main article on Physiologia Plantarum.
Yes.
And so just to rule out if I made a question to myself, and I said, to conclude, to make a real conclusion, why not to check if a fly irradiated with microwave rays could really behave like the one they found over the crop circle. And so I made some experiment with the flies, and in the article you can see the one example of flies dead in the microwave oven. It's not exactly like expected to be. So it's definitely microwave oven or microwave rays cannot do to flies what is thought to be to do according to what was written in the article of the Haseloff article.
And as they say in Hollywood, no animals were harmed in the making of this program, but flies don't qualify as animals because they're insects. Yes,
yeah,
they're insects,
yeah.
so we're okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I know this critic. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, then, what you're saying, Hasselhoff believed that it was microwave damage. He even postulated. I think I've seen diagrams where he had a sort of a set distance where he said, you know, if a ball of light was at this position, within this distance, it would radiate this much energy, and that would be hitting, you know, whatever, maybe the flies included, and affecting the crop and maybe the flies in this way. So that's quite a big statement to make, isn't it? You know, when you're sort of reaching out there as a researcher to sort of postulate balls of light affecting the crop, the corn, affecting these flies, microwaving them. But as you say, you didn't find any evidence of... What did you find, by the way? I mean, I'm just interested. What did you find the microwaves did to the flies? And were you doing this as a control in a laboratory lab environment, or did you do this yourself at home? I'm just kind of curious as to this.
Yeah, I found I did this at home. So you can use your microwave oven.
Yes. Try this at home, everybody.
Yeah, try this at home.
Yes.
You need a small, let's say, thing with a cover. You have to capture the fly into, and you put the plastic on top, so you have not to put the fly without. You have the container. You have the glass container and the fly inside.
Right. And
you put the microwave, and I used 650 watts.
Right.
Of power because I was reading the so-called scientific articles by Levengood, and because he made this kind of experiments with plants inside the microwave using a kind of similar energy power of microwave. I used the same energy, and I performed the experiment
at the same times as well. That's obviously important because the dosage goes up the longer the time.
Yeah, but I discovered that it depends on the dimension of the fly, because the smaller is the fly, the longer it resists.
Really?
Because, because there are a lot of technical things. Anyway,
the wavelength it's got to hit it at a certain size, and small flies, the wave is just not able to affect them, I would imagine. Because
you know the microwave acts on the water inside bodies or inside things.
Right.
So the much more water you have, H2O, you have inside the thing you exposed to radiation, the more you have exchange of power between the microwave oven and the thing. And so the smaller is the object, is much more difficult is to cause problems. Yeah.
What was the effect then on different size flies? You know, it was probably frying them, eh?
Yeah, but you can. I don't know if you can show, but there is in my first article. It's also in English. It's over the internet. There is a picture at the end.
Okay, we'll call that up. We'll call that up in a second then.
Okay.
Okay, is it which? Can you just give us a brief description of that? We've got the titles of these, so we can call them up. They're in the text file. Is it at the top of the list of ones you sent me?
Yeah, it's in the list. It's Dead Flies Mystery.
Okay,
But I can.
we'll call that up now. So
Okay.
Dead Flies, is it 006 HTM?
Yes, 006 HTM.
006,
Yes.
that's great. Okay, we'll call that up. If you actually want to call it up as a web page, and we'll just have a little look, because apparently there's a photo there. So
At the end, yeah, at the end, before the last paragraph, the conclusion paragraph, there is a picture.
ah, okay.
Okay, that one was irradiated in my microwave oven, and you know the proboscis. You can see the proboscis. It's not stretched, and the wings are not like the flies in the crop circle. So it's an example.
Right, okay, we've got it coming up here now.
Okay.
That's the fly? Yes, I can see the fly irradiated by the microwave oven. If you control plus, you can probably zoom up that screen.
Figure 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
So it still looks intact, but obviously it's suffered some sort of damage here. But it doesn't look anything like the type of effect that you were getting from these dead flies with the muscara, you know, or that sort of fungus stuff. So it was just basically a dead fly, not showing the same sort of fungus.
Yeah, and you cannot say, oh, this is irradiated by electromagnetic waves. You know, it's a dead fly anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, but you see, this, let's say, small research made me aware of a lot of things. The perfection was not true. The anomaly was conflicting with the perfection. A lot of things spread with articles, with internet things all over the web, without control, without checking, without nothing. And if you go into detail, you discover that the things are very different related to what it's the truth.
Yes.
And so this was the first research, and let's say the second point, the second part of my main research is because I was also interested in the mowing devil, famous thing of the mowing devil, but there are a lot of other minor things. Maybe one of the major thing I had done. My contribution to the crop circle subject is to investigate the scientific articles published by 2 articles published by Levengood and Talbot in 1994 and 1999, and then the 2001 article published by Hasselhoff again, because this was the main important thing, content in the very famous in Italy book of Elcio Hasselhoff, and that was interesting. Yeah,
was it one of the documents relating to the flies was Levengood as well? Because we could bring that up if you want. I've got that one.
Yeah. This is
should we bring that up?
Very funny. Yeah, you can show. This is in my blog. It's very interesting to see how the same subject could be seen in a different way by different researchers. Okay, the Hasselhoff was saying that the dead flies was killed by microwave, or let's say electromagnetic waves energy, because is supporting the pulse of light hypothesis. While, and I hope that anyone listening is aware of what I am going to say, the famous Dr. Levengood, whatever you want to call...
Dr. Levengood? We have to clarify that one straight away, don't we? Yes, we'll call it. We'll just call him Dr. Levengood for now, but we'll maybe go into that in a second.
Okay. Anyway, Mr. Levengood... The important difference between Levengood, Talbot, and Hasselhoff is the following one. Levengood and Talbot, the BLT organization, they supported since the beginning, and they support now the hypothesis of plasma vortex.
Right.
Okay, this has to be clear. That is a very strange thing, because even Terence Meaden doesn't believe about the plasma vortex, while Levengood and Talbot, they are still believing in this strange hypothesis.
It's important to say probably that Terence Meaden, Dr. Terence Meaden, actually invented the term plasma vortex to try and describe this stuff. And then when he found out it was people, he's now kind of said, oh, he doesn't believe in it anymore. So that's important to state, because some people might not know who Terence Meaden is. So carry on, yes. So they've followed this then. They believe that this is the case, even though the guy that invented the theory has given it up. This is very important to tell to the people, because a lot of people are saying that the scientific researches prove that it's been demonstrated that and blah blah blah. But if you go into really reading the article from Levengood and the BLT organization, you discover strangely that there are a lot of conflicting statements, like okay, this should be a plasma vortex. Anyway, we can go back to this subject, but I was trying to clarify that Aslov was saying that a BOL could be irradiating the field and could kill the flies in such a way, while a different approach was followed by Dr. Levengood. And in the post, it's very clear that Levengood is trying to fit the plasma vortex hypothesis with the dead flies, because Janet Osebad sent these photos and these specimens to Levengood in order to have his comment on this strange phenomenon. Yes. And Levengood is explaining a very, according to me, funny things, because he has to fit in the same scenario the dead flies, the stuck flies, and the plasma vortex. How can you combine these two elements together? And in the post you can see the original report of Levengood saying that his idea is that this plasma vortex was rotating somewhere, collecting live people, live insects, live flies, was eating some sticky substances, and they were slammed to the wheat while creating the crop circle. Slammed.
Yeah, you can read it. You can read it. So the plasma vortex it's very funny, because you can imagine this air vortex collecting, encapsulating flies somewhere, live flies, and creating a crop circle in another place, flattening the weeds, making the flies stuck to the wheat and killing in this strange position. And this is unbelievable, according to me. This is really unbelievable.
I can see it in the last paragraph. Yeah, you know, literally says slammed onto the wheat stems and glued to the surface. I mean, that is quite a big statement to make, isn't it? You know that. Yeah. All those things are taking place. You know, you can say that with some certainty. Oh well,
yeah,
you know, not you. He's trying to. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And this was very interesting, because you can see the same subject with different, let's say, justification and forcing in different hypotheses. While the reality is completely different, is scientific, is nature like this. And this is one of the main, as you said before, surprising thing. Nature is surprising. When you study, you can appreciate the beauty of the nature and the complexity of the nature, the very complexity of the nature. While there are a lot of so-called researchers that they are not interested in studying the normality, let's say, while going to other things without checking, without backgrounding the information.
Yes, indeed. Well, we better just mention, because I should have done this at the beginning, but you've got a website which you can put the www on. I don't think it'll matter too much; it'll still work. But it's francescograssi.com is your website. Yeah.
But maybe it's better to mention the blog. That is much more, because the web is populated with the posts from the blog. The blog is francescograssi.blogspot.com.
francescograssi.blogspot.com.
Yeah.
So slightly different at the end of the. You can see the spelling for Francesco Grassi there. Have I got that right?
Francesco Grassi. Anyway,
yes,
going
good.
to the website, you find also the blog. Anyway, if you search for Francesco Grassi and Crop Circle, you reach both the blog and the website.
And any of the links that were talked about tonight, if people want to go and have a look, there's a links section on www.circlemakerstv.org. It will get moved under the photos and links. At the moment, it's actually on the front page. It'll get moved under photos and links, and it'll be Francesco Grassi. If you want to Skype the show, Skype us at CirclemakersTV. You can speak to our guest, Francesco Grassi, or you can ask us questions, but it'd be much more interesting to ask the guest a question. Please come through to us if you want to do that, and we'll try and hook you up. We haven't tried this before, but there we go. We shall give it a go. Right, so have you got any more interesting stories about crop circle research? That's quite fascinating. Ignorance of certain researchers to certain facts, and then refusal to tell their public what they then know. Well, I've experienced that one myself. Know exactly how that one works. So it doesn't surprise me at all that we get problems like this, and people just brush it under the carpet. It's quite a common thing, really, in crop circles for people to find something fascinating and plaster that information everywhere, tell everybody about it, and go, isn't it wonderful, isn't it wonderful? The aliens did this, and then we saw the UFO, and then we got the dead flies, then we got the lasers, then it's from another galaxy, and then we got channeled information, and then we got all this stuff, and the energy vortices, and of course it's Mother Earth as well, it's the spirits, it's all mashed into one big interesting thing. And of course, if you disprove A, B, C, D, and E, they will just carry on talking about it.
Yeah. That's right.
You can bring as many weird things into the fore as you like, but you can never dismiss or downplay them. Once they're out there, you can run with them, but you can't discount them. But
another aspect is that we are talking about dead flies since let's say 1 hour. It's difficult to explain. When you have to explain these things, you need a lot of things to show, to talk about. So you can imagine this is impossible when you go to the TV program to speak about this subject. So it's very easy and much more let's say mysterious to say, oh, it's a strange energy irradiating the crop fields. And the dead fly are killed by energy or whatever. You can talk about UFO or boson light. So science is not so easy to explain. It takes time. It takes a different approach from the people listening. So you need to be very. You need to take care. You need to reflect on the things. So it's not so easy. But as I said, is a challenging stuff. And I would like to mention the other important part of my research.
Yes, please do.
It is related, as I anticipated before, it was related to the scientific publishing manuscripts by Levengood, Talbot, and Haseloff.
Yes.
So it was very interesting because in the manuscript there were something objective. There was something that could be analyzed by scientific methods and rational thinking, and that's why me and the other two people collaborating with me, they are Claudio Cuccheo and Paolo Russo. They helped me in digging this subject, very hard subject, and we studied all the literature about the scientific publishing of the manuscripts, and we were successful in having published our manuscripts, clarifying that the Levengood and Talbot 1994 and 1999 manuscripts were not absolutely right. There were a lot of errors inside that manuscripts, and also the Haseloff paper was full of error. So, as a matter of fact, there is a urban legend saying that the science proved that it was scientifically demonstrated that balls of light, plasma vortices, and so on. But we proved that it is not true. It is not true, and we were successful in having published our article in the Journal of Scientific Exploration Review.
Yes, I read that you'd been successful in that. You didn't have so much success managing to get your article into the same period review journal as Hasselhoff and Levengood had previously written in, which I think is is it called Psychologia Plantaria? I've got it written down here somewhere, but it's
the name is Physiologia Plantarum. That means, physiology of the plants. Physiology of the plants.
Yeah. Now, am I right in saying that Levengood? Now, we should say he's not actually a doctor, because this is the problem with this particular person. We have talked about this many times in the past, but Dr. Levengood is not a doctor. He doesn't have a doctorate, so he shouldn't be calling himself doctor. And people around him have been pulled up on this because he has no right to talk about this, to talk about himself as a doctor. But he actually published a paper in this peer-reviewed journal, Psychologia Plantarum. And
right.
Am I correct in saying that this is one of the only papers that was submitted and published that ever got removed by this magazine?
Removed? What do you mean?
Removed. Tell me if I'm wrong, but they actually, after they published it, they published a retraction saying, we remove this from.
No, they didn't remove. The chronology of the events is this: they published in 1994 a first manuscript from Levengood, written by Levengood.
Right.
In 1999, anyway, the manuscript was trying to demonstrate that crop circles are created by plasma vortices.
Right.
In 1999, the manuscript was signed by Levengood and Talbot, and it was again published onto Physiologia Plantarum journal. And in 2001, the same journal, again Physiologia Plantarum, published the opinion and comments manuscript written by Haseloff. Okay.
Right. Okay.
This was 2001. When we wrote our article, the first thing that we did was to give our manuscript to the same journal, to Physiologia Plantarum, and so we did. So we wrote the article. It was 2003. December 2003, and we submitted our manuscript to Physiologia Plantarum. And what happened? This is interesting and strange. After a couple of months, it was February 2004, the journal Physiologia Plantarum rejected our article.
Yeah.
Okay. Our article, and I was very surprised because I could never figure out why. And the position was what I was able to publish years later, because to be fair with the journal, I didn't publish at the beginning what the rejection cause, motivation, reason, the rejection reason of our article. But some year later, I was able to do this, asking the agreement of Physiologia Plantarum, and it's what you can read in the 013.htm.
Yep,
It's in
I've got that, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And this is very interesting, because if I should explain the technicalities of the article, we would stay months to explain. But according to me, these few statements from the Physiologia Plantarum review, they talk very, very clearly about the subject. He's saying that the editor of the review is saying that the paper, the first paper, was just cited in the second paper of Levengood. So he's saying that nobody in the world is caring about this extraordinary article. Just Levengood is citing himself in 99. So the article in 99 is citing the 94 article. And the only article citing the 99 article was the Haseloff comment in 2001. In other words, nobody scientifically is talking about this, was talking about this subject after the 2001. Why? Because he's explaining, he's saying that because the title of our manuscript was The Questionable Science of Crop Circle.
Right. And is there any? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's saying that you have been more polite than I would be in describing this as questionable science, because
just explain. You'll get this is the reply from the editor from Psychologia Plantarum.
Yeah.
So you're reading out his reply reasons now. He's saying, carry on. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, because it sounded like it was you saying that. Then I just wanted to be clear. So this is coming from the editor. So yes.
These are very strong words, because they are not coming from me. These words are coming from the editor of Physiologia Plantarum.
Okay, give it to us again. Give it to us again. What he was saying. He didn't feel that he should publish because.
Yeah, I can read it. The editor is writing to me. I have read your letter and your manuscript several times. While you have been more polite than I would be in describing this as questionable science, I think we agree that this topic is more suited to the popular press than to a scientific forum. The original papers were submitted to the journal and were subjected to the normal peer review and were regrettably, in my view, recommended for publication and therefore published. So he's saying, in other words, I really do not understand how we were able to publish these things. This is not science, he's saying. Your point is that, given that this journal has published in the past papers that were questionable, in your view and mine, then this journal is therefore the best place to continue this discussion. I understand your point of view, and I respect your wish to set the record straight, as you see it, but I must disagree. The original papers by Levengood were published, and comment criticism of these were also subsequently published, blah, blah, blah.
So they had received criticism.
Because this is tricky to explain, but maybe the first intention in publishing the article of Haseloff in 2001, they thought it was a criticism. As a matter of fact, because the article of Haseloff starts saying that Levengood is wrong because this formula, because this calculus, but this is the article of Haseloff does not finish here. Haseloff continues saying that, okay, and my hypothesis is that a ball of light is flying all over the crop field.
I see.
Anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. It continues, inadequate though you may feel this way. After serious consideration, I believe that to continue this discussion, when clearly from the citation record there is not a scientific discussion in progress, only gives its substance and credibility it does not merit. I can therefore not accept your manuscript for publication in our journal. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I wish you every success in publishing your paper in a more appropriate forum. Yours sincerely, Dr. Baron Harry, subject editor of Physiologia Plantarum. So to me, this is much more important than reading really the content of our article, because these are words coming from the editor at the moment, in 2003, 2004 of Physiologia Plantarum, saying that I really do not understand why my journal published this, that is not science. This is not science. So I don't want to continue to give credibility to this subject treated in this way. So please, I have to refute your article, go to another review journal and have success in publishing that. And we said, okay, thanks. Let's try with the Journal of Scientific Exploration,
yes,
JSC, and we submitted in 2005. Our manuscript, and without saying all these background things, rejection and blah blah blah. And you can imagine the first reaction of JSC when they received our article. They said, but hey guys, why are you submitting to us this hot topic while it was published by Physiologia Plantarum? And I had to reply that I'm sorry, we did it last year. They refused the publishing for this reason, and I can prove. I have the mail, I have everything, and if you want to check, I can send it to you everything, so you can evaluate if you want to publish, if you want to go to the peer review process to publish our manuscript. And they said, okay, just prove these kind of things, and I sent what I have read before, the rejection reason from Physiologia Plantarum, and they accepted our manuscript for the peer review process. And then at the end, in 2006, 2005, we were successful in publishing our manuscript in the Journal of Scientific Exploration review.
Good. So at least it was dealt with. That's the main thing. But interesting, you say there that I can't say, we call it Plantarum journal, didn't want to deal with it because it had been dealt with and really wasn't really meriting the attention it had got. And I believe I read many times over the years that Levengood, Talbot, Burke, Levengood and Talbot, the BLT team, which are credited as being the main scientists looking into this type of stuff, in fact the only scientists, they're always hailed by all the researchers. They would be like, you know, oh yes, we know the crop circles are blah 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 because BLT team has said blah blah blah, and they're taken seriously because they've been published in a peer-reviewed journal, you see.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's always put forward, you know, their peer-reviewed journal took them seriously and, you know, published their material, and that's why Dr. Levengood's material has been checked in a peer-reviewed journal. Well, do you think, this is just me wondering now, do you think that the journal would have accepted his material if they knew that he wasn't a doctor and had perhaps faked his credentials of being a doctor? Do you think they would have accepted the material then and published it?
Yeah, maybe not, but as I said before, science is not a matter of titles.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you can write if you have the technicality, if you have the knowledge, you can do. That does not matter is if you are. In this case, Dr. Levengood was saying that he was a doctor, and he really is not a doctor. So it's kind of strange. But science should not deal with these kind of things. They should have read the paper, and they should have rejected if they want they didn't want to publish the article, not because the doctor issue, but the content, because the content is absolutely
absurd.
Not absurd, yes, absurd.
Yeah.
And for instance, when we started to perform statistical review on the formation sampled by Levengood, we discovered that he sampled very few points, and you cannot make statistics with 10 points sampled. It's really absurd. And furthermore, you cannot, for instance, this is interesting as example, when you want to say that, when you want to foresee the exit poll for a votation, no? The statistics organization need to rely on a lot of exit poll data. And we are talking about normal things. But when you want to introduce absolutely extraordinary entity like plasma vortex, you cannot rely on 10 sampled points, let's say. This is not statistics. This is completely non-scientific. So the critique should be done to the content, not really to the fact that Levengood is not a doctor. And again, in 1999, the same error, they published again. In 2001, they published the fact that someone was criticizing Levengood and was introducing a new extraordinary entity theory, like yes. Ball of light theory. Yep. Our feeling is that at the time, the people who published the stuff was not really aware of the incredible content inside the article. And even if these three articles passed the peer review process, that maybe we should clarify to the people listening what's the peer review process. Maybe the peer review itself could fail. The peer review process it's the scientific process when you want to publish. It simply means that the article should be read, commented, criticized by expert on the subject, and able to say, okay, this is not credible, this is absurd, or maybe this is interesting, but before publishing you need to change this aspect, justify this data, and explaining these kind of things, and so on. This is peer review. And in my opinion, the process failed in this case. And that's why the last editor in 2003 and 2004, it was maybe it was the first responsible, aware of this failing, saying, okay, I want to stop this chain. To me, it's okay. This is not science. So we don't publish anymore this subject because the credibility of our Physiologia Plantarum review
it's on the line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it?
You mentioned the word justification, and that's an interesting point that we could come back to if you want. You basically refuted some of these claims, but then you went on to ask for the materials, I believe, of Hasselhoff, and were those things passed on to you when you asked for, well, you're making these claims about things like balls of light and you know, the effects of this. And then you said, well, can I see your material that you've made these estimations and theories from? Can I see your material? Am I right in saying you asked for that? Did you get it?
Yeah. I asked it. I wrote to Elcho Haseloff during that year when we started to analyze and review his article and Levengood articles, and I received from Haseloff the data, the sample data. As a matter of fact, the research, the Haseloff research, was performed on the same formation, on the same three formation analyzed by Levengood. So Haseloff performed a new research, a new sampling, he collected new data just into the hoax, so-called hoax threshold.
Oh, we've lost you a second. Oh, so into the hoax, something you were saying, into the hoax.
In the hoax formation in the Dutch. Can you hear me?
I can now. Yes, yes, we got you. So in the hoax formation in the Dutch, something you said, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Haseloff got the data, inherited the data coming from three sampled formation of Levengood and Talbot, coming from the previous two articles. While the new data he collected were coming from a known hoax formation, human-made formation in the Netherlands. He visited.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was making estimations that there was a force created by balls of light on a known man-made formation, and he was coming out with these results.
His claim is that there is a specific scientific formula saying that an electromagnetic point irradiating has an intensity going like 1 above r square of the intensity, and he was showing that in the three formation coming from the article of the Levengood article, this correlation, I am simplifying, but this correlation is very clear. While if you go to analyze the data coming from the human-made formation in the Netherlands, you will not see this correlation. And this is the core of the sentence, of the claim of Haseloff. One important thing to mention is a completely different approach. If you read carefully the Levengood articles and Levengood and Talbot article, you discover that they are supporting a cause for the creation of the crop circle. If you ask yourself, what is a crop circle? A crop circle is, before everything, is a flattened area of crop in a geometric way. Okay, so the idea of Levengood is that rapid air movement is flattening the crop.
Right, rapid air movements, yeah.
Yeah, the vortex. While Haseloff, it's kind of tricky, the statement, because he's not saying that the ball of light is able to create the crop circle. Because he knows very exactly, and every physician knows exactly, that you cannot push the wheat down using electromagnetic waves. This is not so common to be known, but if you want to create, if you want to flatten wheat or crop using electromagnetic waves, you have to use so much energy, unbelievable energy, and before flattening the crop, you will burn everything. You will burn everything. So it's impossible to flatten the crop using electromagnetic waves. So the idea of Haseloff is not that the ball of light, this is tricky, is making the crop circle. He's saying that the energy irradiating coming from the ball of light is just lengthening the node of the wheat.
Only affecting the node, but not pushing
Yeah.
pushing the
Yeah.
plant over. So, you know, there's got to be a secondary force then, which he's not discussing.
Yeah, yeah, he is not interested. But the curious thing is that when this paper was spread by the supporter of Haseloff, it was like this: scientific studies demonstrate that crop circles are made by balls of light. Are made. What does it mean? Means that the first thing the ball of light should do is to flatten the crop, and then create some anomaly, okay? While one of the thing that the article do not say is that the ball of light can flatten the crop, because it's impossible. And this is one of the things we put in evidence in our comment, in our criticism.
Right.
Okay, but then I asked to Haseloff the data, so he came back with the data. He collected the sampling from the hoax formation, and we worked on that. And we made, let's say, a little experiment, making a statistical evaluation with the second radius sampled by Elcho Haseloff, because this is very technical. But in the article, Haseloff he sampled two radius. Imagine a circle. If you imagine a circle, you can have two radius. So he used the sample coming from one radius, and this sample were used in the article published in Physiologia Plantarum. But there was a second set of information sampled in the same circle that they were not used in the article. So we used both, all the data, and we proved, but it was just let's say an experiment to prove that this means nothing, that the correlation using also the excluded data from Haseloff could show the same behavior of the so-called genuine crop circle. Our intention was obviously not to say that the human-made formation in the Netherlands was genuine. Our intention was to say that if you do not take care a lot of the data, you can say whatever you want if you treat them without a serious way in managing data.
So it's basically selectively sampling then, is that what you know?
Yeah.
He's selectively sampling so that, you know, one of these radiuses, eventually, he's going to get a set of data from one of those radiuses that makes his theory work. Is that what's being said? So you could take a man-made circle and look around the radiuses and find what you need to make that work, but you've taken data from the same formation that was man-made, and you say, well, look, you know, it can look like a real circle. You know, it can look like a real circle from a man-made one if you take this radius, you know, and you've avoided that radius. So it's selective sampling to kind of give what they want, basically.
Exactly, you got the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to show that you can play with the numbers, you can play with the samples, and if you are not clear, you can say what you want. It's the same thing when you look at the clouds. You can see a horse, you can see a sheep, you can see whatever you want. So you need to be very careful in managing the things, and you have to declare. You cannot discard data just because you want to push your idea, your theory. Yeah.
I mean, would it be? Tell me if you know anything about this. Then Levengood in the past has claimed that certain circles are obviously real by his data sets that he's created. which we as circle makers happen to know that, you know, whichever circle he's saying is real is made by people. So his data set is based on a premise that is wrong to start with. But he may not know that. He may not actually know that. But what was interesting was Steve Alexander and Karen Douglas, who were involved with the samples being sent off to Levengood, decided that they would experiment with a control that was a known man-made formation, which they made because they knew it was man-made because they made it. Yeah, nobody else knew. Nobody else knew it was man-made. They sent a sample off to Levengood, and he proclaimed it to be just as genuine as all the other formations that he claimed were genuine. So Steve and Karen then told Levengood, they said, look, you know, you've just told us this is a real formation based on the sample we've sent you, and actually we made this. So what have you got to say about that? And he said, and sort of backpedaled, and Nancy Talbot and Levengood started sort of going, oh, no, actually we did know it was man-made, and yes, we knew that was man-made. So did you know about that event? Did you know about that?
I know that these kind of things have been performed, sending to Levengood samples coming from known human-made formation. Yes.
I mean, my point being there is that you've got one example where Hasselhoff his data is being challenged, and you've got other examples where Levengood has got it wrong. You know, this clearly shows on more than one occasion the scientific methodology and the results have been called into question. There's real problems with this scientific work, this claimed scientific results that have been had more than one occasion.
Absolutely, yes.
So I mean, I think it's very good that you are prepared to do this type of work because it's very valuable to pull this type of information out and to challenge what is claimed to be very reputable science. This is what they're claiming it is, but you know, there are problems with this so-called science.
And I can tell you that when I started to perform lectures on the crop circle subject, spreading my researches, one common criticism was, you cannot talk about the subject because you didn't publish in a peer review journal. And that was challenging. I said, okay, I have to do this, and I was successful with the help of a couple of friends, very, very valuable. Okay.
Right. Well, that's very interesting stuff. I mean, obviously, we that know the subject well would say that certain people have got an interest in this subject and then claim to be scientists. One would be more impressed by somebody who was not in any way, shape or form interested in the subject of crop circles, but simply in the science and doing work as an outsider or an independent body. That would be probably taken more seriously than people that seem to have quite strong opinions, their own personal ideas, and putting things into the mix, such as Dr. Levengood. He seems to be somebody that has a kind of personal interest in this subject and promoting certain things. I mean, would it also be fair to say that Dr. Hasselhoff seems to have a bit of a passion for crop circles? So is it any wonder then that people that are kind of passionate about these subjects are not necessarily looking at them with a very clinical, cold, scientific approach might actually come out with things that kind of do foster their ideas and their personal beliefs rather than putting forward true scientific information? I mean, that is an assumption. That's not to say that's the truth or a fact, but I would say that there's a good possibility that there could be some of that going on. Do you have a feeling on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. My experience that when you support your statements, when you criticize things, and you are able to prove, because this is the science, you are able to prove, it's not opinion, you are able to show that the things are in a different way, could be seen a different way, need to be investigated. My experience is that people don't change mind. People, the tendency is to continue to believe in the same thing with excuses. So they say, "Oh, but you are skeptic, so you cannot talk about this." But they are not interested in reading and studying what I wrote.
Yes, I mean,
this is the classic.
There's a problem. I mean, I've found this with it's like knee-jerk reactions. We tend to call them knee-jerk reactions. So if you have somebody who's a believer in crop circles and has seen television programs on the subject, and has heard that there are these horrible people called hoaxers, then if somebody comes along and says, "Well, I'm interested in looking at why this science is wrong," I mean, I'm looking into the problems in this scientific area. Once you get branded as being a so-called skeptic, which is a sort of brand that you have, and many of your friends, I'm sure, have that brand, then a lot of the public that are looking at this stuff, they just see things in very black and white. If you're a skeptic, you're the bad guy, and you must be working for the government, or somebody's paying you to say these things, to tell lies about the wonderful subject of crop circles. They don't tend to look beneath the surface at what is the science and where the science maybe goes wrong. So you've got the good guys, are the Levengoods, the scientists, who are telling you that it's balls of light, it's wonderful, and you should just believe that without looking into it. You should just believe it's balls of light, and you should just believe there's microwave damage and all of these cellular changes. That's wonderful. But if somebody comes along like yourself, then you must be the bad guy and you're the dark element. Is that how you kind of find that a lot of people react to this initially? I mean, I was expecting you to say yes then.
No, but it's really my experience, and you can imagine it's very difficult to explain things when you start your speech coming from the underground, because you have to dig, to go up, to get the credibility of the audience.
And I mean, when you say that, I mean, you're trying to get the credibility of the audience. You're trying to get heard. I mean, would you be invited to speak at a crop circle conference on this stuff, putting your theories forward? Has this ever been something that paranormal research sort of forums have wanted to bring on board, or is it something you've had to push yourself, and it kind of takes a slight sideline? Do you think you get do you get a full page spread when you talk about this stuff, or do you just get one page? And do you get invited to speak at crop circle conferences, or do you in fact find they're not interested?
It happened to be invited to conference or forums organized by believers, so-called believers. So it happened to me. The audience was very negative, but it happened, and I was able to manage. It's another experience, very interesting, because a lot of people, when you show uncontrovertible things, they have to admit. They don't say to you, you're right, but internally
they have to.
They have to. So in some way, I was successful because not hundreds, not millions of people, but let's say some people, Italian people, that was attacking me, denigrating me on this subject. They changed mind, and they are now very well prepared to the subject, because they discovered a lot of things, understanding and reading my material. So in some case, I have not millions of readers, but in some case I was successful. And this is one of the positive things on this activity. Again, not paid by anyone, just everything from my pocket, because I am genuinely interested in the subject, and genuinely interested in divulgating the science, the scientific method. This is the base of my motivation for the researchers.
Yes, indeed. I think I might have met some of your friends from Italy, because it's interesting when they first came over. It's like you say, when they first came over many years ago, met some of these people, and they were kind of saying, you know, no, you can't be. It can't be people doing it. Surely, you're not telling us the truth. And over the years, these people from Italy came back and back again. And I saw a change in their attitudes, and they were like, "Oh, we kind of understand now. It's people doing it, and we take that on board, and we're really interested in coming out and seeing a crop circle being made." So I think I may have met some of these people, and it is good to know that people are taking it on board. Yes, and you are right. Yes, there are.
Yeah, you're right, because we didn't mention before, but when I was also interested in the actual circle making, because I wanted to be sure that making circle could create in the audience, on the people going into the field, some reaction. And so I was able, that was very important, because another criticism that a lot of people was saying to me is that, okay, you cannot talk because you didn't publish onto a scientific paper, and I did. Other people said, oh, but you are not able to create this such perfect and geometric shape and formation. And this was a new challenge for me. And I started to study the subject, and I'm glad to you, because I discovered that you were divulgating the 2 DVD, 3 hours interview with circle makers, and I started to study all the interviews you performed, trying to understand the motivation, and as a matter of fact, it was quite strange for me to understand, to know that, for instance, there are, let's say, kind of religion aspect, praying before making circle. This was very interesting to me, because it was the anthropologic aspect of the actual circle making that I didn't know before. And it was very, very, very well appreciated, and it's very difficult to explain to people, because usually press simplify the articles, saying that pranksters or UFOs, they are pranksters or UFOs, but the reality is much more complex. So I've been to UK, I made circles with a circle maker, I experienced to be there in the field with them, breathing the air before doing the formation, taking inspiration coming from, let's say, believers, meditating and so on. It was very, very interesting to me, this kind of experience. I'm really sure that not so much people were able to have to experience all the things I experienced, also with the English circle maker. So this is very important, because now I can say not only that I am able to study the subject and publish scientific articles, but I'm able to make circles, and I know very well what's the reaction of the people to my circle. And because during the year I became, let's say, more able and more sophisticated in creating circles on the paper, and then going to the field and create the real formation. I can say that a lot of myths, a lot of urban legend that spreads also coming from my formation. And this is the only way, this is what I say to everyone, the only way to make sure that what the so-called experts say has no sense is to create your own circle, make your own circle, and then don't say that you did it, you made it, and then just collect the reaction of the people. This is the only way to make sure that that specific formation is human-made, because you made it. It's the only way.
Mm.
All the other formation, you have to trust someone. You have to trust a friend. You have to trust Matthew Williams in this case,
Yeah.
because
Don't do that.
you ask. Yeah, don't do that. But okay, I can say, oh, I don't want to believe. But you can do this. You can make a crop circle and then have a look to the reaction. And you discover that the reaction is exactly the same. The urban legends are the same, and everything is the same. So you can feel, you can touch with your hand really that how the myths spread from human-made formation. This was very important, and I'm glad also to you, Matthew.
Well, yes, you, as you say, you've made quite a few formations. You know, you've helped TV. The TV program Voyager. You invited myself to come out on one occasion. You've been on more than one show, I believe. I think I've got a little bit of footage down here actually, which I can. Ooh, I don't know if I might lose the audio if I do this, but let's have a little look. So
okay.
Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're still there. So this is just a piece of footage. Is this Roberto something? His name is.
The name of the conductor?
Yes.
Yes, he's Roberto Giacobbo. Yeah.
He's the presenter, and he's flying over somewhere here. Now, I didn't know where this was because I just picked this up off YouTube, but he's in a helicopter. Is this England?
Yeah, usually Voyager goes to UK to take some footage of the first formation, and usually during September, October, there is a specific program episode dedicated to the crop circle.
Because I couldn't work out by looking at this formation which one it was. Little bit rough. I'm not aware of which formation that is, but you know, it just goes to show that Voyager is a very well respected program. They've got a big budget. They fly around the globe to look at these things, and they've certainly dealt with the crop circle subject from a believer point of view then, and also from the skeptical point of view. They've interviewed yourself, and they've even commissioned a circle to be made. So I got a little bit of money to help fly over to Italy, and I believe we've got some photos actually, which the wonderful Agent S, whose picture is now going to go up on the screen. Look, there she is. There's Agent S working away, arguing with people in the channel and slapping them, but never banning them. She's very fair, but she's never banned anybody. She doesn't know where the button is. I'm not gonna show Agent S where the button is. There's the pictures. There we go. Oh yes, this is the picture of the. This is the crew. There is oh, you'll have to take it off, doodad. That's it. Yes. Coming soon. Here we go. Nearly. There you go.
Yeah.
So this is Francesco here. This is the crew. I forget your friend's name, who's on the right-hand side now.
Yeah, this is Stefano Bagnasco.
Stefano.
And the other, Stefano. And it's me on the right of Stefano. That is sit down.
Yes.
And the other one is Marco Morocuti. Is the first on the right.
Okay, and this is the end product of the work. I didn't get a good shot from above of the circle, but this was created at night. They did turn the lights on occasionally, didn't they? But it was done mostly in the dark, and they just popped the lights on every once in a while just to sort of see the progress. But we had guys following us through the formation as we worked with the camera, and this was aired. When was this? 2005 or 7 or?
I can't remember. It was 2006, maybe.
2006.
7, 6,
okay.
Anyway, I have to check.
Okay. If we pop on, we can have a look at some other. That's the field from the distance. I don't know.
Matthew, I can. It was a pity because that field was very, very good before 1 week before before us making the crop circle. But there was a very bad damage made by the wind and the rain.
Yes.
And there were a lot of field of crop flattened down. So we had to to manage that situation.
There we go. We've got the photo of the field with the wind damage. Yeah, we were unfortunate that we were working in a field that had a lot of damage in it, and it made the detail quite hard to appreciate. And also, we were beset by being bitten by sort of little insects, I think, that were mosquitoes. Yes, I got a bit of a rash, didn't I? And I don't think we anticipated that it was going to be such hard work to work in a field in what was I believe a slightly wetter part of the country. Groundwater in this area was a little bit higher, so there was a large population of these insects that didn't like us being there, I don't think. So
yes, because there are a lot of rice fields, so they are flooded with water, so there are a lot of mosquitoes. Very terrible.
But it was very good to take part in that, and I think it helped people understand much more about the subject. You know, so from the Italian audience who probably only get the sort of, you know, maybe the weird stuff. So you helped to promote the other side of the argument, which is very good. So thank you for doing that, and maybe at some point I'm not sure if I've put it on my YouTube channel. I'm a little bit reluctant unless I've got permission to put these clips on. I don't know if it is on the net. Have you seen that actual show on the net, on YouTube or anywhere?
That specific I didn't see, but I presume you can, because there are a lot of material in case YouTube will say that if some people don't want the material, you will receive the YouTube
oh yes,
warning.
I wouldn't put copyrighted material up unless I had permission, but there's the you know, the possibility that somebody else has put it up there. I'm quite happy to link to it if they have. But
okay.
There we go. Right, have we got any other areas which you'd like to cover? I mean, I've printed out some material like this analysis of this particular formation, which I think one of your friends said that there was an error in the mathematical formula that was actually put into this formation, and they did you want to? Did you want to mention what that meant, the error, or the fact that there was an error?
It's last year. It's the one formation last year, and analyzing, decoding the code behind the formation. It could be easily find that there was an error in the. I can't remember. It should be the Euler formulas. So it's not well encrypted, so it reveals a clear error made by humans in this case, according to me anyway.
Right.
There is another strange thing that I discovered. I was not prepared to accept that, but there are a lot of formation created in 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. So we have pictures of the first night, after the first night, after the second, and blah blah blah. So to me, this was the clear signal, warning that human beings were going into the field in the night, and then they had to stop the activities. Come back in the second night, and so on, to complete the formation. But I took part to a believers convention, and I was very surprised to understand that they were believing that the energies perform like this, like the human beings. So doing activities in the night, stopping the activity, and then coming back. So this is another conflicting claim. Sometimes they say, oh, the energies are very rapid. In a couple of minutes, everything has been formed. There was never, the crop circle was not there. After 5 minutes, the crop circle it was there. And in this case, the same people are able to be convinced that the energies are so slow that they have to work just by night and to do the activity during several nights. This is quite unbelievable. Another thing is a research that I did, or let's say investigation, a very minor investigation, is to highlight that every single crop circle formation has been constructed following the construction line. And
Yes.
one important case is the very famous Milk Hill 2001 crop circle, because a lot of time when I made my lectures, people were saying, "Oh, this is you cannot explain this. It's so huge that you cannot explain." And this is very important because you can use this. I mean, when I perform my lectures, to show that if you follow the 6 branches of the Milk Hill 2001, you can construct the 6 branches. And if you go to the footage got, for instance, Peter Sorensen's got a brilliant footage of the Milk Hill 2001, you can see exactly that there is an underlying path of wheat under each circle. This is another clear evidence that whatever who made the formation followed the construction line, and this is absolutely another evidence that points to the human being's direction, and this is very, very important. And the Milk Hill 2001 is also important to me to explain to people that when you are able to serialize or parallelize the work, you can do huge formation in the same amount of time. I mean, if a single branch could be done in 4 or 5 hours, you can do 6 branches in 4 or 5 hours, because you have to put in parallel in parallel work a lot of people. So this is not so a common concept to show, but the Milk Hill 2001 helps me to show that the vastity, the big dimension could be reached by very well skilled people, of course, but well organized and parallelizing work.
Yes, it's interesting what, as you say, copying out each arm of that. In fact, we even had on the show a very talented circle maker who managed to show the design being done, and we called it Circle School, the episode. Yeah. And it contains a number of formations which were drawn by the circle maker, and it just goes to show, actually, one arm or 1 or 2 arms. I can't remember if it was 2 arms now in that particular one. Milk Hill 2001. You're talking about the 460, 470 circle design that looks like a vortex, I suppose you could say. Yeah. A vortex of arcs, a vortex of curved arms that go around. So it's like a ninja star then, but it's got more arms. It hasn't got 5 arms; it's got 6 arms. So it's a 6-fold geometry, and the thing is basically replicated. Once you've got 1 arm, you can replicate the other 6 very quickly, and you can start work on parts of this whilst other people are continuing on to create the next arm. Somebody could be working on the first arm, putting in more of the detail, and as you create the second arm, the third arm is going in whilst they're working on arm 2. It's kind of like you can have people working in different sections, building things up. So it's interesting, and as you say, very observable construction line right through the center of each of the things. Now, if it was a paranormal effect or a ball of light, you'd wonder why the ball of light would need to put down a walk line, a flattened line, to help you design the rest of the circle. Why would a ball of light need to do that? So it's a very interesting point. Yeah. So yes, you've obviously in your time you've put a lot of effort into this, and you've now got a lot of recognition for this from the organisation that you work for. That's the what's it called? CHECUP. Yes, Checkup from the neck up. That's what I'm going to try and remember. From Checkup. So where do you see your research going in the future? How do you see things progressing on?
I have a dream to write a book about this subject, because as you can know, there are a lot of books on the crop circle, but at the moment I cannot see a lot of books written according to all my experience, all my knowledges, pointing all this criticism and this truth that I discovered. So this is one of my objectives in the future. Of course, it's not so easy, because conducting a normal life with the job and the family, you need time to do this. But this is one of my objectives in the subject.
Yes.
I will continue to follow the thing, and I'm not closed to the subject, because I can imagine that there are a lot of every year there are things to be investigated, because people continues to put in the same subject different things, very interesting in some cases. In other cases, they are already being investigated. So usually I follow the phenomenon, trying to catch the new things, investigate them if it's the case, and usually I spend time to create formation also, crop circle, local crop circle, because it's very good. When you do one time, you feel that circle making is very beautiful activity, because you are in the nature. There are a lot of sensation and experience that if you don't make circle, you cannot experience. And yeah, I will continue to make circle.
And you can validate that being out at night, your eyes adjust to the dark, and you can see and work. That's not a problem, because it's a common complaint that I get from people. And even yesterday I had a comment on my YouTube channel, and somebody said, you got to be crazy. In fact, somebody's nicked one of my videos and put it onto an Italian site. I don't know who this person is, but I just wrote to them and I said, could you give me a credit, please? Because they've nicked my video of us making a circle, and they've commented in Italian saying, look at these crazy people. They think they can do this stuff, but this is daytime and this needs to be nighttime. These people are idiots. And it's like, and I'm thinking, hang on. And the only reason I found this is because I was looking for Italian stuff today to put into the show. But you've obviously been out at night. I mean, you find it quite acceptable to work in those conditions? How do you find it? Is it as easy as we say it is to work at night?
Absolutely, I can confirm this, and I can say that going into the fields when there is full moon could be a problem, because there is so much light that the people, the crop is around the field can get you.
Or even the farmer. The farmer would see you if you were doing something illegally, which of course we don't recommend that anybody ever does, ever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Of course, yes. But I mean, it is possible to work, and do you have any problems with the designs you've done? Have you ever encountered any issues where you've made any mistakes, and what have you done when you've? Yeah. Have you sort of like made little mistakes when you've been out working?
Yeah, I experienced this thing. For instance, making some error, not being able to complete the formation as created on the paper. This is another interesting subject, because when it's very, let's say, interesting, people saying, "Oh, this formation is perfect," but if you don't know how it should be, you cannot say in any case that is perfect, because you don't have
the original. Yes,
you don't know the plan. And in a couple of cases in my crop circle that I made, it was exactly the case. The formation should be should have been much more elaborated, much more complex, but we were not able because the timing, because the experience, and a suggestion to give to the other circle makers that when you create a formation with some symmetry and you have to flatten areas, you can act thinking that if you should leave the formation, avoiding the asymmetry, trying to be always symmetric. So the design, the formation could be seen as perfect, even if it was not exactly as you designed onto the paper.
Yes, so that you leave like an escape design idea that will work even though you've made a mistake. You kind of have a backup plan, or you know, that you can kind of shape it so that it has some form of symmetry, and the eye does the rest. The eye fills in the blanks and makes even crooked lines sometimes appear straight, you know, under certain circumstances. People looking at a design, maybe even like the Milk Hill formation, where those circles in that formation, Milk Hill 2001, some of those circles are bigger and some of them are smaller than their corresponding partners on other arcs. But the eye doesn't see that. The eye sees it all perfectly. It works. And the eye sees what it wants to see. It doesn't necessarily see what's there.
Yes. And because, you know, there is a lot of people tend to make the diagram of the formation, and when you redesign the diagram from an actual formation, you make them perfect. You make it perfect. So every single circle is copy and paste of one branch. So the Milk Hill is exactly perfect, but if you go to the real formation, you discover that there are a lot of differences in terms of dimension of the circle, and that's quite clear, because it's not possible to make things so perfect in the field for the tram lines, for the boards, because maybe you have not the same boards or the same let's say way to flatten the crop and so on.
Ah, speaking about different ways to flatten crop, hang on a second. I've got a bit of a video footage here. See if you can spot this. This is Francesco Grassi off his website. You can find this video and have a look. But what are you up to here? Because you've got some strange tools going on here. I couldn't work out what you were doing with. You're obviously putting a center post in at the start, but you've got some strange stomping board equipment there.
This is not me. This is not me.
Oh, this isn't you, right? Okay.
No, this is an experiment. It was performed by Professor Luigi Garaschelli. He is a member of the CICAP as well. And this is quite interesting because it was performed in 1991, before Doug and Dave came out.
Right. So he didn't really have an idea of how you would make a crop circle because nobody was talking about it back then.
Yeah.
So he's got his own implements.
It was his experiment to create a formation using a flag, a string, and I don't know in English how do you say this object I can see now.
Oh, it looks like a wiper blade, you know, like something you'd use to clean a very large window or something. You know, it's
no, it's the tool you use in the field, in the garden, for instance,
a rake.
To collect collect leaves and so on. I
can see now what I couldn't see earlier on. I can actually see that he's got his rope is tied onto his onto his rake, and he's using the center post as if it was a person to hold the rope in place. Obviously, using this type of technique, you can't pull the rope very tight because you'll end up pulling the post out of the ground. So you've got to be quite slack and lax. Yeah. And there's probably a lot of room for tolerance errors here. So I would imagine the edge is going to look a little bit wibbly, wobbly, cookie cutterish.
Not clear, yes.
Not clear.
Yes, of course. But still, this is an interesting because it was a pre-Doug and Dave experiment. And
I mean, I'm sure, you know, a circle very similar to the style and quality of Doug and Dave, because I mean their stuff wasn't exactly highly complicated, but I mean, he must have managed to create something that was very similar, I would imagine, and it looks like, you know, he managing to do it on his own, which is quite an achievement.
Yeah.
Not easy to do circles on your own.
Yes, but I was very amazed by a video footage from Doug Bauer creating one from himself, just one people without any help of anyone, creating a crop circle, quite good shape, without center, creating circles. Was very interesting. It's another technique I didn't realize before, but it's very interesting to use, because you can start if you have a board of 1 meter, you can start with a small circle, and then you enlarge the board, the outer part of the circle, and you go creating the circle, enlarging the circle. And it's very interesting to manage circles quite big. I can say that you cannot go to 10, 20 meters of radius, but you can manage 4 or 5 meters. You can achieve a good shape without having a center. So you can manage by yourself without anyone.
And you can see from the time it's taking here that probably in several minutes, with some effort, this gentleman, the professor, is going to be able to flatten all of this corn. So in no time at all, he's able to make that size circle. So with plenty of people, many people helping you, you could you know, duplicate a very large complex formation in a few hours. You can just see how long it's taking this person, and that technique would allow him to work at night. The rope is there; it's holding the distance for him, so he's not even needing to see what he's doing. It's working for him. One person working on their own can do this at night without even a second person.
It's quite unbelievable, because you can realize that in 20 minutes you can create a very big formation. If you take the first formation of the 80s, in the first year of the 80s, and people will say, the expert, the so-called expert, they say, oh, it's not possible to have this incredible size, but it is something you can do in 20 minutes in 2 people.
Yes.
So and you can experience that. Once the formation has been created much more complex size, the people is continuously to say the same thing. And I say, for instance, I realized the formation for the TV program, and of course we didn't make 100 meters diameter, because you know, for the TV you need to stay a couple of hours and not 4 or 5 hours, so you need to simplify. And they say, oh, but this formation is not complex like Merkel 2001 or whatever. But if you compare my formation with the formation in the beginning of the 80s, this is absolutely amazing. It could be the cover sheet of the Pat Delgado and Colin Andrews book.
Yes, indeed. He's creating a line out now, so he's obviously out doing a key or something that to show that lines can be done. Very interesting video. So it shows that people in other countries, you know, are obviously looking into this sort of stuff. I've got to ask, we're just about to wrap up. We haven't had anybody who wanted to call in, but it doesn't look. And we haven't had many people actually commenting in ways that we would pass on necessarily in the show. There's about 19 people in the chat room. It's gone down to 16 now, because it's getting past their bedtime, and you're looking like you might need to get to bed yourself, sir. So we're going to let you go, but I've got to ask. Even though you're part of a skeptical organisation, even though you've shown that crop circles are most likely man-made, and you're sort of working on these things, do you have any belief in strange things? Have you had any strange experiences of anything that you're just not sure about? You know, just unsure.
I have to be honest. I experienced the strange things, but my approach is a different one. If I experience strange things, I try to understand why.
Yeah.
And in a several occasion, I found something strange explained. In other case, not. But this not leads me to go and imagine extraordinary entities, to involve extraordinary entities.
Okay.
This is something to be investigated, and this is the science approach.
Absolutely. Ever seen a ghost then? Ever seen anything like that? Something you weren't just like fleetingly, you thought, what was that? Seen a UFO? Something?
When I was young, I've seen UFOs. Yeah, a couple of occasions I see strange lights. And
did they speed off and change direction? Anything like that that you thought, well, that's a bit unusual, you know?
No. I realized later that it was a bolide. I don't know in English.
Bolide meteor.
Bolide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a bolide.
Could be that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Could be that. In another case, I experienced very well a bolide in the north of Italy, and strangely creating a formation.
There you go. You see, you're dabbling with strange arts there, dark arts. Yeah. So you've had a strange experience.
Yeah. I can tell you the first part, and I can stop there, or I can explain the second part. Anyway, I have seen a strange light, a UFO in the sky. And it was quite inexplicable, strange, absolutely strange. Going to later to see if it could be possibly the ISS, International Space Station.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was the passing of the ISS, because we checked the coordinates and the timing. It was exactly happening at the time in that place. So if I should stay the first experience, I would say, I would reporting that I saw a UFO without explanation.
Right.
In this case, I can tell you what's the explanation, but okay. It's
so yeah, you're not totally close-minded. I wanted to end the show on this kind of note that you're open to looking into these things. You're not saying that stuff doesn't happen, that people can't explain, that it's just looking for explanations and keeping an open mind. It seems like you've got an open mind.
Yeah, but Matthew, science is because there are mysteries.
Yes.
Without mysteries, science is nothing. The scientific way, the scientists works on the subject where there is no explanation. So this is the positive aspect of the science. So if there is no mystery, nobody can investigate, and nobody can discover that there are beautiful things like fungus or evolution, Darwin evolution, or incredible thing that we are able to do. For instance, me talking from Italy and you broadcasting the program from UK. So this is part of the science. So this is another myth to be clarified. The science is very beautiful because without mysteries you cannot reach nothing. The problem is the method. This is the main important thing that I am very happy to discuss when I made my lectures.
Good stuff. I think somebody in channel earlier on said that science is searching for the divine. So scientists are looking for signs of something that could be there. And if science finds proof that there is something strange and intelligent and divine out there, I'm sure science will admit that. But science is also looking for the rational, and sometimes we are, drawn to the truth, and we have to accept what we see. I'm being told as well that there's a possibility there's another crop formation has been reported but in the Alton Barnes area this time. It's not appearing on the Crop Circle connector as of yet. It's not on their pictures, but somebody was saying that there's a possibility that that is the case. So, well, on that note, if we bring up Francesco again, because we are going to close the show, we've got to say goodbye, and we hope you've enjoyed being with us. We've certainly enjoyed having you. It's been very good getting a fresh look on the subject. So.
Thank you.
If you get any more revelations or anything else you'd like to have a chat with us about, please do get in touch and come back on, because it's been very successful having you on the webcam, and the audio's been great. The picture's been as good as you can expect from Skype, which isn't too bad, but maybe we'll get it even better next time. But it's been great having you, so thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Agent S.
And Agent S's mic's faded up now, so.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure.
So, well, thanks again for everybody in the channel, and we hope that everybody manages to get across to Francesco's website. We'll give it one last blast on the title there, so you can see. It's francescograssi.com, and also you can get to his blog site from the video that you saw a couple of minutes ago. It had the address on there, which I think is francescograssi.blogspot.com. Yep, good. Yeah. Okay, the TV channel for Voyager, if you want to check out Voyager, the Italian TV program, it's Rai 2, I believe, which is the equivalent of the BBC, I suppose, in Italy.
It's the second channel. Yeah.
Second channel, like BBC 2. Yeah. So very prominent channel. Check out their stuff, and if you want to come across to have a look at the links, go to CirclemakersTV.org. Under photos links for Francesco Grassi, and you can get all the information links that we've been talking about tonight, so you can look at Francesco's work. So, okay, well, thank you, Francesco. We'll hang up on you now, and or if you want to stay on, we can have a quick chat after the program's over. So please stay on the line if you wish. Yeah. And we shall say good night to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a marathon 3-hour program, and if you're still there, you must be bloody hardcore. That's all I can say. So thanks very much, everybody, and hope to see you next week. We'll announce the guest when we know who it is. So all the best. And
thank you.
Catch you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Francesco.